Hello everybody, it's Andy here from AM Media Games, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how to model a pumpkin. Now, disclaimer, yes, there are many different ways to model the same type of object. Lots of different ways. But this is a method that I've used for a while that I find really easy. So I'm going to share it with you. The first thing I'm going to do is add in a UV sphere. So we're going to go and press Shift and A, and that'll open up our add menu. You'll notice down here I have the screencast keys on, so you can follow along easier, just in case anybody doesn't quite understand my accent. I am from the UK and sometimes people struggle to understand what I'm saying, but hopefully this will help. So Shift A, Mesh, and we're going to go to UV sphere and add that in. Now the reason we're using a UV sphere is because this is really easy to unwrap when it comes to texturing. Now I have one here. Well, I did have one there. I'll leave that. It seems to be having a paddy fit trying to save itself. I did have one there, but never mind. So we'll model this one now, and I'll show you how to do that from start to finish. So we're going to press Tab to go into edit mode. You can do that by clicking up here as well. Or if you watch here, you can press the Tab key. Just like so. So we're going to go Tab, and then we're going to go into face selection. So you can press 3 on the keyboard, not the numpad, or you can click this button here. I'll hold the mouse on it so it highlights it just there, and that will give us face selection. So we're going to drag over and select these faces, and then we're going to press Control and plus, and that will increase incrementally to the next face, and it will add that into the selection. And then we're going to press X and get rid of faces. We're going to do exactly the same to the bottom, so you can have a look in from the top, select those faces, Control plus, press X and delete faces. So we should have a UV sphere with no caps. So you can see, excuse me, just yawning away, you can see straight through the top all the way through to the bottom. Now if you hold middle mouse, you can orbit around and read the camera, just in case you were struggling to follow along if you're a beginner. Now we're going to press 2 on the keyboard, not the numpad, so make sure you press the number 2 key, which is above the W key. We're going to press 2, and then we're going to hold Alt and left click to get this outer ring, these circles, and then we're going to press S and scale that in. Once we've done that, we're going to press G and Z and move that down, just like so. And then we're going to do the same at the bottom. Press 2 for edge selection, hold Alt and left click, scale that in, and then press G and Z and move that up. Now with proportional editing turned on, which is this little tiny gizmo here, this little button, I'm going to click on that, and what this does is it influences, kind of like, so if I was to select this ring here, this inner ring, if I were to use proportional editing, you have like an influence circle. So if I press G, you'll notice this large circle at the bottom, but it's not just moving the faces that I have selected, it's also moving the connected faces in an influence circle. If I use the mouse wheel to scroll, I can increase the circle radius of influence, or I can go upwards and decrease that influence. It's a really good way of moving objects and having them kind of stick to some kind of a uniform shape. So press 1, press G, and we're going to increase the circle size, press Z, and then we're just going to bring that up, just like so. So you should have a relatively kind of curved to flat bottom, and I'm going to do the same across the top. So select this inner ring, 2, hold Alt, left click, and then press 1, zoom out a little bit on the numpad, press G and Z, and then move that down, just like so. Now we're going to press 7 to go top down view. We're going to turn off proportional editing, and then we're going to select every alternative line. So we're going to press 2, hold Alt and left click, Shift Alt and then left click and select every, so you're going to select, miss one, select, miss one, select. So all the way around back to the start. So I'll let you follow along now. Just like this. So you should have selected, missed, selected, missed, selected, missed, all the way around. Then, excuse me, it's going to move the camera down a little bit and zoom in. I'm going to press S to scale, and we're going to scale that slowly in towards the origin point, which is that little orange dot. So we should have a shape like this. We're going to select that inner ring there, press 2, hold Alt and left click. We're just going to scale it in, just like so. And then we're going to press Shift and D, because we want a copy of that inner ring. So we're going to go Shift D, Z, and move that up. We're going to right click, separate, and then by selection. And then we should have 2 meshes. So this one, you can name this if you want. Oops, caps lock is on. Pumpkin body. And then this is going to be, what do you even call that? Stalk? Pumpkin stalk. That'll do. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. So we have the pumpkin shape, but it looks like something from, I don't know what, a PlayStation 1 game. So what we're going to do is we're going to select it and then press Control and press 2, and that's going to smooth that out for us. Then we're going to right click and then do Shade Smooth. So we have this shape, which looks really good. Now, let's see if has that finished. So here's the one I did earlier, and you can see here I've added all of this texture on. So this is the same method that I've used before, and this is a custom skin texture. So that's what we're going for with this one. So just in case you wanted to see what it looks like when it's finished, that's what it can look like. I know it's not world class, but it's good enough and it will work perfectly fine in most video games. So we're going to select this one here. This is our stalk, and we're going to go to edit mode. So you can click up here, or you can press tab, press 1 for vertex selection, press A to select all. You're going to go side on view, so press 1, looks like a little crown. Press E, Z to extrude upwards, press S to scale in, press E and Z, move upwards, press S to scale in, GX to move it out, E, Z to move it up, GX to move it out, R to rotate, S to scale in, E, and then you're going to freehand move this one, just like so, rotate, S. So we've got a little stalk, and then you want to finish this cap at the top. So there's a couple of ways we can do that. If you want to make it look cut with a blade, you can right click and go loop tools. In order to do that, you're going to have to make sure that you have loop tools enabled. So click on edit, go to preferences, go to add-ons and type in loop, and then make sure you turn on loop tools. You don't need to restart, it should work straight away. You're going to right click, loop tools, circle, say that one fast, 10 times. And then we're going to press ES1, right click, vertices, and then by distance. Sorry, no, at center, my mistake. And then we're going to press 2 to edge selection, Alt and left click to get the entire circle, the rim, hold Control and B to bevel that, and then go up a couple of times, just like so, with the mouse. And then we have our stalk on top. Now what we can do here is we can scale this down slightly. So let's do edit mode, and let's scale it in like so, and then we can move that into position just like so. There we go. So we have our stalk on top of our pumpkin. We can select this, press Control 1, and then right click, select it, right click, and shade smooth. So there's our pumpkin. Now to UV unwrap this, really simple. If for any reason you want this in a video game and it's going to be a physics based object and you want to pick up the object, now you don't really want to have a hole in the bottom. If it's for rendering, you won't notice because it will look like this and you can't see the bottom, so it's perfectly fine. But it's only fair that I show you how. For the bottom, we're going to select the object, edit mode, select that bottom, but first we're going to go to our modifier and turn it off by clicking this little picture of a monitor. And then we're going to select this bottom inner ring, 2 for edge selection, hold Alt and left click, and then we're going to press ES, scale that in, 1, right click, merge at center, and we're going to select this outer edge as well. So these two, press G and Z and move it up slightly, and then there's the bottom done. And then if we re-enable our subsurface modifier, subdivisions, it's all sorted for us. Now if we want to apply these, not duplicate, apply, so you can hold Control and press A in the window, or you can manually apply it. You'll notice down here it will add extra faces and it will kind of mess up that inner ring there. You see here how it's added extra verts. So we can select these faces, hold Control and press plus until you get to that point. So we don't want all of this because it's unnecessary edges. We then press 1, right click, and then merge at center. Gets rid of all of those unnecessary faces for us. And then we can do the same with this one as well. On the top cap, it's going to add these triangles we don't need. They are quads, but it's just unnecessary. We don't need them. So select these faces, Control plus once more, press 1, right click, and then at center. So that's that sorted. So there's our pumpkin model in all its glory. Now to unwrap this for UV, so it's an extra step. You do not have to follow this part if you don't want to, but for anybody that wants to learn how to unwrap this, you can follow along. So we're going to select our pumpkin first, press tab, and we'll notice if we press 2, we can see all of our edges, but we'll notice that we have perfectly center edges running right here. So we're going to hold Alt and left click, and we're going to do exactly the same on the other side. Here, hold Alt and left click. Now if we do it evenly, it will give us more of an even cut, and then it will give us an even amount of faces or distribution for those faces in our UV grid. So if we press U and then do mark seam, press A, press U, and then do unwrap, we have this perfectly even unwrap for our faces for our pumpkin, which is perfectly adequate for texturing in Substance Painter or in Blender. This is exactly the same, and this is how it looks in Substance Painter. So if you want to go for something similar, you can see it's plenty of detail. The texture looks perfectly fine. It's not skewiffed or bendy. It looks perfectly fine in my opinion. Maybe you have a different one. That's completely your prerogative. So we want to unwrap the stalk now. So let's select the stalk, and then we go to the very center of the inner side. So the inner side is the curved part that's lowest point, and we're going to select the very center edge, this one, but we want to hold shift, so Alt left click here, hold shift and click on this one, and then you're going to hold shift and Alt and select this loop, just like so. Press U, mark seam, A, U, and then unwrap, which will give us this. Now this isn't great because it's overlapping, so what we want to do is press 3 for face selection, hover our mouse over this mesh piece, press L, press R to rotate, S to scale, G to move. Now imagine it's a really cool hardcore game inventory system. You don't want anything to overlap, but you want it to all fit inside. The more space it takes inside the UV grid, the more resolution you'll have. for your texturing. So deselect, and then you're going to do it again for the cap, L to select it, G, S to scale, just like so. And then we have our model unwrapped, ready for texturing. So that's how you create a pumpkin inside Blender and prepare it for texturing. If you want to see the video on me texturing it, let me know in the comments. If enough people want me to do that, then I will happily make a separate video going over how to texture the pumpkin in Substance Painter, how to add some of the details in, how to get all the colors and stuff like that. So if you want to see that, then no problem, I will do, but as long as there's enough demand for it. But yeah, thanks very much for watching. If you want to support me, you can on PayPal, buy me a coffee. You can support me over on Patreon. You can subscribe on YouTube, or you can join as a subscriber over on Discord, where you can ask me questions, talk to me, get to know me. I'm always up for a chat. I'm always up to look at your games, help you with things, advice, or just a good old socialise. So thanks so much for watching. Take care, guys, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye for now.